Hey guys, so today I actually am going to be making 2 keto breads, and these are known to be kind of really good ones, so I wanted to try both of them out and compare them together. This one was actually, one was from Keto Connect and one wasn't. I just randomly found it, but it wasn't complete, so I just completed that one and then tried it out and see how it came out. And then the other one from Keto Connect, I actually added a couple of things, some things that they recommended, but other things as well. And then I just wanted to see how eggy the taste was and stuff like that, to see if maybe it came out better, because a lot of people on their channel had said that it was eggy. So I went ahead and did both of these, and so just watch the video and then you guys will see how they came out, which one I recommend, and I will see you at the end of the video. So for the first bread, it's going to be pretty simple. As you can see, just coconut flour, flaxseed, coconut oil, salt, 6 eggs, and baking powder as well. And you want to make sure that the flaxseed is flaxseed meal. It's grinded very finely and not the actual like seeds, because then it's gonna come out different. So this is the first bread that I had tried, and you just mix everything up, of course, and just throw it in the pan and you're good. In the description I do have the recipes for both of them, but stay and watch my second bread please, because then I'll tell you which one comes out better. I'll explain why I like them better, and then also because the way that you make it is very different, kind of takes more of a process. So I would just recommend watching my video before you decide to make it, so you can kind of get an idea of how to do it. Alright, so this is how it came out, and you can see it's not super risen, but it is going to stick together pretty well, which is good, you know, for bread. So here I decided to cut it, and I had cut it at like this at first because you know, it's just pretty simple and I wanted to show you guys, and then I'm going to show you a different way to cut it later. So it can kind of come out more of a sandwich bread type of thing instead of like a stick. But anyway, so if you want to take a good look at it, you can kind of see how nice and brown it got on the outside and how spongy it is. It's not wet looking, it's very fluffy, but it is pretty dense, so it's not super fluffy, but it's going to allow it to stay together pretty well, and that's what we want for the bread. Now to start off the second bread, this one's going to be a little bit more complicated. However, there's not that many ingredients, just 6 eggs, baking powder, baking soda, lemon juice, salt, and almond flour. And you will need butter, and for sure you are going to need some dry active yeast, and this is going to help with taking out the eggy flavor out of this bread. So first you are going to want to start whisking the egg whites only, and we will leave the egg yolks for later. And so this is where the whisking starts. I did not have my own machine to whisk it, so of course I'm doing it by hand, so you're going to see me doing this a couple of times. However, you want to do it to where you get a nice foamy, bubbly look to the top, and then you want to add your active dry yeast. Then you want to mix it up again, let it settle, and then we'll start doing the egg yolks. So we'll mix the egg yolks together, and then we'll start preparing the dry ingredients. And so you just put all of them together and mix them, and then we're going to be adding them to the egg yolks only, and we're only going to be adding half of the mixture, mixing it up. You do want to make sure you add the melted butter right before, mix it again, and then add your dry ingredients. I do not recommend putting them in a blender because it's going to be very hard to mix. You could probably just do this in a bowl separately, or you can just use a regular blender to mix everything up, and then just add the second half and go ahead and blend that up together as well. And then we're going to be adding the egg whites. I only did the non frothy part so that we can save the frothy part for later. So this is where you're going to add the mixture to the actual frothy part of the egg whites, and then you're going to slowly mix that in, and you want to be gentle because the egg whites are going to give it more of the fluff. So this process took me a little bit because I was doing it very slowly, softly, not being too rough. And then once everything gets all combined, then of course you can add it, and then we'll bake it and we'll see how that comes out. Alrighty, this is the second bread, and it came out really nicely. I thought I would show you guys how I just kind of popped it out of the pan without using any sheets or anything like that. So this one did come out a lot fluffier than the other one. Obviously not super a lot, but just a little. However, it did come out nicer, and so I'm just going to cut this, and then we're going to see how it looks. Alright, so you can see how white it is, how fluffy it is, and dense it is. It gives a nice little fluff pack. So it's just like bread. It's got a nice color to it. It's not dark like the other one. Still nicey toasty on the edges. So now I'm going to show you how I sliced it more like actual bread instead of like a stick. And so you just cut it in half, and then you go by the bottom and you just slice it to make little bread pieces. So you have to make them kind of thin to make it into 10 pieces because they only make 10 pieces per loaf. So you want 5 per side. And so since I just decided to make a sandwich, I thought I'd show you guys how I made a little breakfast sandwich so you can kind of see how it looks as a sandwich with the bread. And after this, I'm going to be showing you guys how they look side by side, real comparisons, so you guys can see the difference, how flexible they are and how soft they are. And then I'm going to be doing a taste test so you guys can see how it lasts with maybe more of like wet ingredients on top of it, and also if they will last with the food on top of it for a little bit. So I will see you guys in the next clips, which is going to be tomorrow morning. We had actually just finished eating breakfast. I'll go ahead and show you guys what I ate for breakfast, since it was kind of the taste test that I did. And so my taste test is peanut butter and jelly because that's one of my favorite things to eat. So I did that, and I'm gonna show you in this next video my taste test. Okay, so this is the first bread. You can see how dense it is. Got overnight in the fridge. Now we're going to compare 2 slices. I tried to make them as evenly as I could. Now we can see that the second bread kind of broke a little bit actually at the bottom, but it's still very fluffy, so it came back. It's not broken, so it stayed well together pretty well. As well as the second one, it's a little bit more stronger because it is more dense as well. And they both give a really good sponge back feel. So they're both almost about the same in that aspect. Now this is the test that I'm doing. And I actually put these on and then I'm just going to take a bite to see how they taste. And then after that, I wanted to leave them there for a little bit. So I decided to make my breakfast, see if anything started kind of going through the bread, if it still held up pretty well. And so this is where I'm going to take the first bite. And you can already see the difference because this second bread over here is a little bit more thicker because of the density. It came out a lot stronger. The second one was a little bit more flexible and a little bit thinner. So now it's the end of the video, and me and my little partner over here are going to be going to the store. So in the taste test, I actually just put half a tablespoon of peanut butter and jelly on each of them, and since they're very wet and you know, that's why I wanted to test it with that. And then I noticed that on the first bread that I made, it actually had a little bit of an aftertaste that I noticed after a little bit of eating it, and the other one didn't. And so I do recommend the second one. It came out way better and it didn't have any aftertaste. It was really fluffy, and I hope my child isn't too loud for you guys. You know, I wanted to show you guys the comparison, and I really liked the second one compared to the first one. The first one is doable, it's easier to make, but the second one, even though it takes a little bit more process, definitely worth it if you really want actual bread material, especially for a sandwich. It doesn't have an aftertaste. It doesn't have as much of it, like an eggy taste to it. I really didn't taste any eggy taste to it, so it was really good. I definitely recommend both of them, but the second one was way better. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and we'll see you next week.